Hey, hey! Welcome back to the show, the wrestling show. We're keeping it real, goes right. Welcome back to Real Take Wrestle Talk live here on YouTube. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. If you're a wrestling fan, I hope you're surviving because there's a shit ton of stuff on TV this week. But it's okay, because we're going to be covering all the big stuff, all the stuff you need to know this week. I'm your host, Omer. As always, I'm joined by wrestling connoisseur, Mr. I'll be there in 5 minutes, but really, I'm about to take a nap, Trevor, the barman Sutton. Trevor, how you doing?
Wasn't expecting that one. Can't do that when I'm drinking water. I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm getting by, man. I am getting by with all of the stuff I've had to keep. I watched Raw, and I only realized halfway through that it was taped. And you know what? It was halfway decent.
You know, I didn't realize it was taped until, I almost toward the end, and I was wondering why I actually enjoyed it more than I had. So, probably why.
Yeah, I mean, dude, maybe they should start taping Raw, man. Maybe,
Maybe that's the secret.
Dude, it's like... Yeah. There's no spoilers anyways. Behind closed doors. Just tape it. It doesn't matter. Oh, God. Wrestling, man. Wrestling. Goddamn, pal. We gotta get our shit in. But anyway, welcome to this special edition, our WrestleMania live preview edition. We got a lot of stuff to run through tonight. We'll be running through all the matches on both nights of WrestleMania. And we just want to thank you for adding us to our already busy week of watching wrestling content. But we're going to keep it entertaining and fun for the next about 2 hours, hopefully. For those who were expecting us to cover tonight's Hall of Fame, you are sadly mistaken. We will not be doing that. We already did that last week, way longer than we thought we would go on those segments. But if you want to check those out on the channel. There's a playlist called Hall of Fame Conversations. They're actually pretty neat. We actually covered a lot more than I thought we would. But those are interesting. Check those out. But Trevor, before we even get into WrestleMania, there's some big stuff happening just in the next 2 nights. Not only do we have NXT on USA tomorrow, but we have NXT Stand and Deliver, which itself is 2 nights, and it boasts one hell of a card. We're going to see Io Shirai versus Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's Championship. We also have MSK versus Grizzled Young Veterans versus Legado del Fantasma for the tag team titles. NXT North American #1 contender Eliminator. Pete Dunne versus Kushida in a bruising match, or what we expect to at least be a bruising match. Walter versus Tommaso Ciampa. Cannot wait for that for the NXT UK Championship. Also, we got Johnny Gargano on night 2 defending his North American title. Jordan Delvin versus Santos Escobar to determine who is the one true undisputed cruiserweight champion. Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart versus The Way with Candice LeRae for the tag team titles. Adam Cole, who turned his back on the Undisputed Era, facing Kyle O'Reilly in an unsanctioned match. And the coup de grace, Finn Balor defends his NXT Championship against the man who never lost his title, Karrion Kross. This is going to be one hell of a 2-night event. It's a lot, but I actually am looking forward to this. In some ways, a lot more than I am looking forward to WrestleMania. So, Trevor, NXT TakeOver, Stand and Deliver. What are you looking forward to? What's your big matches to watch?
So, just like you, I'm definitely looking forward to Walter Ciampa. Oh, that's going to be such a great match. Both very technical wrestlers. Great match. Also, Karrion Kross and Finn Balor could be a good one. I mean, it could also be like a complete Smackdown, but I think they're actually going to let both of them wrestle. I think it's going to be a very good match. The tag team match is really something. Is going to be something special. But I'm really looking for Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. Even though I'm a Finn Balor fan, a huge Finn Balor fan, I'm also a Kyle O'Reilly fan. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle O'Reilly, he's been one of the biggest unsung heroes for a long time in NXT. You know, he was like kind of like the silent workhorse for a long time in the Undisputed Era, and then and that's amongst the people he was teaming with, like That's a huge compliment. But O'Reilly showed that, you know, he had chops on his promos. Really recently, he's shown he has chops on promos. He's able to be entertaining. The dude is a worker too, like I said. So I think that's going to be a match that's going to steal the show. But for me, the big match, like you said, that I'm looking forward to, it's Walter and Ciampa. That is the definition of a pro wrestling main event. And it better go on last because that on the first night, it better go on last because that's a match. These two right here are two of the best wrestlers on the planet. Walter, in my opinion, if you're WWE, you want to fix all your problems, you know what the solution to all your problems are? Needs more Walter. Put him on everything. He is money written all over him. And you know why? You know, okay, yeah, he doesn't have the physique. He does it. He's someone who literally does not need it because he's so imposing. He's so big. He literally looks like he's going to rip your fucking eyes out. And that's what you look for in a main event guy. That's what you look for, especially in a main event heel. He legitimately could like get into a fight and beat almost anyone on the roster. And that's what draws people to him. And him going up against Ciampa, and I don't know if you saw like what kind of led to this match. Like that was an amazing building segment to this match.
It definitely was.
Yeah, like you had Ciampa come out and say, you know, I don't have a match for Stand and Deliver. I'm challenging you for your title. And Walter said no. Ciampa slaps him, and we're on. And like you know, I know WWE. We're gonna talk about how they kind of just put people together all the time, right? Like Sheamus and Riddle. Like they're just putting them together for a random match at Mania. But this is a scenario, I think, of them putting like you can do this right. You can put two people together who, you know, might not necessarily have a huge story going into a big event, but put them together and make magic. But why is it magic? Because there's something on the line, and also these two are two young and extremely entertaining people to watch. Like this kind of reminds me in a way like of the build like of X7 between Angle and Benoit, because you know they didn't even have any build at all. Benoit just came out like on the Raw before and was like, "I'm the best wrestler on the planet," and Angle's like, "No, I am," and he put him in a crossface, and and sometimes it's as easy as that. But I think Walter and Ciampa is going to be money.
I think like you said, they complement each other very well. Ciampa, to me, arguably is one of the best wrestlers on NXT. Walter, one of the best wrestlers in NXT Europe. I mean, honestly, to me, it's such an exciting match, kind of like Steamboat and Flair. One of those two very good performers and two very good on the mic, even though Steamboat wasn't as good as Flair, but two very good people at what they do, getting together and making magic. And Flair and Steamboat made magic on plenty of times. But this one is going to be I honestly think they complement each other so well. This is going to be a great match. Probably the best match that Stand and Deliver, honestly.
Oh yeah, I think, and then that's saying something. I think this has the potential to be an instant classic. Using the words of Christian Cage, you know, well, big ups to my man Christian Cage down in NXT, as Taz would say, or I don't know, AEW. Sorry, but yeah, no, NXT Stand and Deliver. It's gonna be a great event, but it is not the headline event for WWE. No, my friends. That is WrestleMania. And before we get to covering that, I just want to remind everybody out there to be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you haven't already. We got a lot of content in the works. We got a lot of content we already did. Be sure to check some of that out. So be sure to do that. But Trevor, let's take a look here at the matches, the layout for WrestleMania, both nights. 14 matches in total. If they add another match, I will not have room on this graphic to add any more. So fuck you, WWE. On night one, we got Cesaro and Rollins. New Day defending their tag team titles against AJ and Omos. You got a tag team turmoil match. Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon. Barf. Bad Bunny and Damien Priest versus The Miz and Morrison. Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre for the WWE title. Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair for the WWE Raw Women's title. to headline this show. So let's just talk about some of the more undercard matches first. So we have Cesaro and Rollins, which is built around, it's honestly a pretty weak build, but they kind of just put Cesaro and Rollins together. And it's because Cesaro, he refused to join Seth Rollins' little trinity or little group. I don't know. He doesn't even have anyone. He's like the worst. He's a worse cult leader than Bray Wyatt, because at least Bray Wyatt had followers, bro.
Yeah.
Like Murphy dumped him for Rey Mysterio's daughter. Like, like, come on. I don't know. The whole gimmick had some legs on it, in my opinion, but then it just got its legs cut up from under him. Then we have New Day versus AJ and Omos, which I'm interested to see Omos' debut, because 7'3" monster coming in. But those are some of the undercard matches. What are we looking for here, Trevor? What do we got here from New Day and Omos and Cesaro and Rollins? What are you thinking?
Well, again, the build-up sucks for Cesaro and Rollins, even though Cesaro doesn't really disappoint very often. Cesaro is honestly, for a very long time, one of the best workers, one of the best performers on the Raw and SmackDown brand. He for a long time, I feel that, especially when him and Sheamus were the bar, they helped carry a lot of pay-per-views, because sometimes the bar was actually one of the best matches. They were great as a tag team. I don't know why they broke them up. Oh, I know, because they were successful in this WWE. That's what happens. Honestly, I'm interested in seeing Omos as well, even though we have seen in the past a lot of 7-footers built like Omos don't move that well. But I think it's gonna be a little surprise. I want to see exactly what he can do. I don't know. I mean, both matches have their downfalls, but both matches have their interesting level to me too as well. But out of the two, I think maybe the tag team match. Honestly, tag team match, I think I'm paying more attention to.
Yeah, I think the tag team match has way more intrigue. You got Omos' debut. AJ Styles is always, a big draw for me. The New Day, right. Like they're gonna do something wacky in their entrance. There's some talk that it might be some kind of a Brody Lee tribute too. That's just rumors, but that would be cool to see. But I think that's the match that has the draw. And I know that we talked about 7-footers who can't walk quite well and aren't athletic last week in the Great Khali. I know you're still feeling a little bit some kind of way about that, but no, I think Omos is gonna be he has the potential to be different. I think, because
I agree.
Yeah, he's shown he's done some developmental stuff in the past, and he's shown that he has mobility, at least right now. And it's up to WWE to make sure they capitalize on him. And look for this though, I think, to be a little bit of a showcase. You're not gonna get all of Omos. He's not gonna be in the ring for 10, 15 minutes in this match. I think AJ's gonna wrestle a lot of this match, and Omos is gonna get his few spots, but he's going to shine. And it's going to be up to him to determine how well he does. But I think this is gonna be the kind of match to put him over a little bit, and I think that's what it's gonna be. So we'll see what happens with that. And Trevor, I forgot to go over this in the beginning, but for all the matches we run through, I want you to give me at the end. I want you to give me who you think is gonna win, who you want to win, or who should win, and who is actually going to win. So let's start with Cesaro and Rollins. Actually, let's not do that because no one cares about that match. New Day. All right, Trevor. New Day versus AJ and Omos. Who should win and who's going to win?
It depends on how you're trying to build AJ and Omos after this. But if you're trying to build them is like an unstoppable force, which I kind of think that's what they're leading to, with almost being as big as he is and no one's really seeing him wrestle. I think AJ and Omos win this, only because again depends on how you build it. And after they beat the tag team champions, you gotta they gotta kind of be like this unstoppable force, this good team, So yeah, I think they win this.
Yeah, I don't think you put Omos. You don't hype up Omos' debut He's been protected very well. He's been not wrestling. He's been by AJ's side for a long time. I think this is his time. I think this is AJ's time to finally get a championship victory at WrestleMania. So, I mean, hey, we'll take that. So I'm glad we put that to bed. Before we move on, as always, remember to like, share, subscribe, notification bell below. Also check out our content. I'm going to keep on saying that while I change through some of these graphics, because boy, do I have a...
Listen, people.
Listen to what I'm saying. All right, Trevor, I'm sorry, but this is something that we have to talk about.
Is it really?
It's look, this is probably the last time we're going to talk about it, so let's just go all in, to quote Cody Rhodes. Let's just go all in on this. All right. In the dumbest build to a WrestleMania storyline since Jericho pissed in William Regal's tea, we will see Braun Strowman take on Shane McMahon in a steel cage. On Raw, we saw Strowman cut a promo on Shane about Shane calling him stupid and how it hurt him, and how WrestleMania there's going to be nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Much like Triple H's old theme. And he's going to win it not only for himself, but for everybody out there who's ever been bullied. And look, I'm not saying that was a bad promo. I think Braun has a way of delivering promos that's entertaining.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just don't. If you're going to like go that way, right? If you're going to go with, Strowman being like, the anti-bullying crusader, which is fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not a problem, right? But also it doesn't really fit his character, and it's also the storyline's weak. But Trevor, Strowman, McMahon, go.
Again, you said it best. It's a stupid build-up for a match that honestly just feels like a filler. I mean, you have nothing else in that spot, so you said, hey, you know what? Let's just make a match out of this. And let's make a match in the dumbest way possible from a grown man calling another grown man stupid. And then, you know what? Let's use it to bring awareness to being bullied. I don't hate the whole bully awareness thing. I don't, actually. And again, I don't hate Strowman's promo. I thought it was actually pretty good. And I also think, like you said, I think he's very entertaining. It's weird to watch him move his head the way he talks sometimes, but I do like his promos. I actually like Strowman. I'm a fan. But I honestly think this is doing nothing for his career. I think it's WrestleMania. It's supposed to be the show of champions. Supposed to see great things on WrestleMania, and honestly, I do not think Strowman versus McMahon is a great thing. I think it's a waste of talent in Braun Strowman, and honestly, taking nothing away from Shane, because I think, as I said before, Shane is a hell of a wrestler. He's had some good matches, some of which I think will be banned on Peacock. But they just, I think it's a waste. I think it's a waste, and I don't really think anyone really thinks that.
Yeah, I could not say it any better. Strowman versus McMahon is the one match I'm looking least forward to. I cannot understate how dumb of a build this has been. Not only did you take Braun Strowman, you're big monster. Like, this is the guy. He's probably the best monster WWE's had since Andre, and I'm not capping here. The Big Show came in as a monster, and he looked like a legit monster, but in reality, they treated him like he was a jobber. They treated him like he was like a jobber, main or mid-carder, and that's what he was for almost his entire career. Kane, he was treated like he was treated not like a monster. Like there was 1 year in 2003, he was treated like a legit monster, and then after that eroded away. Same thing with the Undertaker. Same thing. This is the guy that had legitimacy as a big dude who would kick your ass and probably rip you apart with his bare hands. But the WWE, what did they do? He was hot. He was actually over with the fans. What did they do? They said, all right, well, he's WrestleMania match, WrestleMania 34. What are we going to do with him? All right, we're going to pair him up with a 10-year-old.
Yes.
He's going to and win the tag titles and then drop him the next night. WrestleMania 35. I don't even remember what he did. He won the Andre Memorial Battle Royal or something like that, right? Something like that. WrestleMania 36, he wins the Universal title from Oldberg, and then, you know, eventually he dropped it to the Fiend, which I'm not against, but everything he's done has either been sloppy or terrible. Yeah. And it's out of no fault of Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman is literally, I think he actually is like the most talented monster they have because he can work like longer matches. Like he had a program with his program with Lesnar, especially. Like I know those weren't long matches, but like those matches were amazing. He had the SummerSlam 2017 match he had where it was him, Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns, and I think Lesnar. He dominated that match. But every time he had a little bit of momentum behind him, the WWE does dumb shit like this. Like bring Shane McMahon out of retirement to put Braun Strowman through a table and slime him on national TV?
And when has Shane been that dominant?
Like, that's the thing. Shane's like the type of guy who's like, he kicks you in the nuts and he gets like, you know, his one spot in. And you did his spot already. So at WrestleMania, when he does it in front of fans, no one's going to care. Oh yeah, he's going to get that pop, but it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
That's the thing. It's meaningless at this point. Like, they're going to put over Shane McMahon, who's 50, and like, you know, oh, he's probably going to get his ass kicked. Yeah, he's going to lose the match. Like, we're not even going to do predictions for this, but you're telling me that Strowman is somehow going to get a rub? You think Strowman's like, no, that's not what's going to happen here. It's just going to be another forgetful WrestleMania match for Braun Strowman, because this is back-to-back years now he's facing someone who's 50. They paired him with a 10-year-old, and then they're like, oh, God, we have to counter this out. And then they just pair him with old people, and then they have him face old people. It makes no sense. It ruins his credibility as a monster. It ruins him. And you know what? I hope that somebody in WWE figures out what to do with Braun Strowman, because he's still younger. He has the potential. He looks like $1 million right now. You can print so much money with that dude. Like, and he's entertaining.
Amazing shape. He's an amazing athlete. I think you work with his mic skills. He could be good on the mic, but I mean, was Kane ever that good on the mic when he was that dominant? No. Like, no. I mean, he doesn't have to be that great.
Dude, you don't even have to have him on the mic. Braun Strowman was amazing in like 2017 was his peak year. That was when he was like, you know, like fucking like he was
giving people hands. That's it.
He was giving people hands. That's all he did. This is the man who took down the Raw set with a grappling hook on top of Brock Lesnar and then went to eat a cheesecake. It was so goddamn entertaining. And now you get him slimed on national TV when he's also in the best shape of his life. It's a joke.
Make sense at all. Like, he even had a decent program with Roman Reigns. That's when Roman Reigns was the most likable to me. Before now, like, that was when Roman Reigns was like, okay, this is cool. You actually let Roman Reigns actually fight somebody that can pretty much kick his ass. That's great. Like, I thought those programs were good too. But like, again, that was the Braun Strowman who came out, looked at people, said 3 things. Come get these hands. Like, and that's the Braun Strowman that you want. You don't want this motherfucker that's coming out here right now that's like, oh, I'm upset because you believe. And don't get me wrong. Again, I'm not making fun of the subject matter. I think it's a dumb program.
Right. Like the thing is, like, what people forget is like wrestling's a work. Okay, right. just so anyone knows, wrestling's a work. It's scripted, you know, like it's like a TV show. Like what we're doing right now is like kind of like, you know, it's booking like you or like talking about it like as if we're talking about like Game of Thrones, right? Where you're just like, oh, you know, like I want to see this happen, and we're critiquing it. That's what we do. But with this specifically, right? I'm not saying the subject matter is bad, like you said, and I'm not even saying Braun Strowman. Like saying it's bad, like and doing this storyline is bad.
No,
I'm just saying they never did it right, even if they were gonna do it. Like they didn't build it up. This wasn't like this is something they started talking about like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like Shane McMahon just started calling himself. They started talking about it 2 weeks ago, and like suddenly we were supposed to believe it. Like you could have. Again, it's just lack of like storytelling. It's lack of all of that, and the prediction: Shane McMahon's gonna get one spot in, like on top of the steel cage. We already know what he's jumping off of this year, so we're gonna do coast to coast, maybe miss, and then Strowman's gonna give him the hands, and he wins. But again, doesn't do anything for anyone here. Shane McMahon's not gonna get over because he's not like Braun Strowman's not gonna get any more over than he already is, and the storyline's actually hurt him. I think in the light of a lot of fans. So I think nothing's accomplished here.
Yeah, I think like I said before, I think it's a waste. It's a complete waste of time.
Yeah, complete waste of time. We just wasted like 10 minutes talking about it. So let's move on to the next thing, which
complete waste of time.
Complete waste of time. Complete waste of time. Oh God, we love it. All right, so let's get to talking about this match. Oh, on Monday Night Raw, we saw Bad Bunny's $3 million car destroyed by The Miz and Morrison, and it changed the match from what was originally going to be a one-on-one match to a tag team match. It's going to be Damien Priest and Bad Bunny versus The Miz and John Morrison. And I understand why they're doing this, right? Because WrestleMania, you have to have like the celebrities and all that kind of stuff. Like that's understandable. And I actually don't think Bad Bunny's all that bad. I think there's gonna be a worse celebrity on the show that we'll talk about later, who probably shouldn't be on the show. But yeah. But I actually like the pairing of Bad Bunny and Damien Priest. I actually think it's done wonders for Priest. But Trevor, this match, tag team match, what are you thinking?
Now, honestly, I thought we've talked about it before. I kind of thought it was another one of those waste matches, and it still could be, but I think it's helping Damien Priest, like you said. I think putting him in the ring with Miz and John Morrison, and also teaming with Bad Bunny, who again I don't dislike. I actually like Bad Bunny, but yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see them work together. Because honestly, I think it's going to be mostly Damien Priest coming to Bad Bunny's aid. But, he might, again, like you said, he might have one or two pops, like an elbow drop off the top rope or something. But other than that, like, it's going to be mostly Damien Priest. And I think it's going to help him shine. This one might be somewhat interesting to watch.
Oh, yeah, well, I gotta protect my finish. I can't have a Bad Bunny doing my elbow drop. Okay, Liz.
Pretty good macho man. That was pretty good macho man.
I've been told I do a pretty good macho man.
We just do terrible impressions of wrestlers.
Well, let me tell you, brother. We'll do that one day. But yeah, I agree with you, Trevor. I think that this is going to be the Damien Priest show. I think, like as I said before, Damien Priest has actually done. He's gotten a rub from Bad Bunny. He's gotten mainstream publicity, from this, and I think he's actually gotten a little over. And this is a good. I think this is a good way for them to introduce him to the roster. And it's funny because I didn't think they would introduce him as a face, but. This is working out fine. I think this is working out fine. I think, like you said, Bad Bunny and Damien Priest are going to win this match. Priest is going to be wrestling the bulk of it. I'm sure they're going to do like you said, the elbow drop for Bad Bunny, have his one spot or his, like the typical celebrity. Oh my God, he bodies drop on everybody and everybody's down, and which is fine. I think it's entertaining. It's going to get eyes on the product, which is always good. I like it when more people are able to see wrestling, and I don't think it's going to take away from, the match. I don't think it's going to take away from Damien Priest, especially. That's the big concern. Like, you don't want it to overshadow the people you're trying to get over. So I think it's going to be a good match, or it's going to be a fine match. Will I go to the bathroom during it? Possibly. But I think, it's going to be what it is. And what it is not as bad as some of the other stuff we're about to cover. But before we cover that stuff, we're going to get to some great stuff. Let's talk about the penultimate main event of night one of WrestleMania 37. This is it. We have the reigning, defending WWE champion, Bobby Lashley, facing off against the former champion, the man who just a year ago headlined, main evented WrestleMania indoors, and with no fans, and I think this is going to be one hoss of a match. You got two big athletes. If you go back and watch their match from Backlash last year, I think it was, they just kicked the shit out of each other, and it was great. I think you're gonna expect the same thing here. I'm excited for this match. I think the build's been a little weird, but I think McIntyre and Lashley are gonna save it. But Trevor, what do you think?
Like you said, I agree with the whole build. I think it was when you actually look at it, I think it was roundabout and kind of stupid, but it's working itself out a little bit. But again, the talent is what I'm worried about. The Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre. Bobby Lashley is actually coming in this pretty hot because he's had a pretty good year so far with the Hurt Business, which we won't talk about that.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. But and MVP has helped him a lot. The rub and everything he's been getting in the boost from Seth Alexander and Shelton Benjamin have helped him a lot, and vice versa for all of them, honestly. So I think now is the time where you put Lashley over and you give him high profile matches like this. Drew McIntyre, like we've said on a few shows, pretty much single-handedly carried this company due to COVID. He won a belt in front of nobody, which I know a lot of people are like, why do you think that's hard? I mean, it's hard to perform in front of no crowd anyway, but to pretty much get the brunt of everything on your shoulders is a champion during a pandemic. Like it's a big deal. It's a big deal. He's been doing it well. So I honestly cannot wait for this match. Can't wait for it.
I think that the build aside, the King Corbins aside, this is one of the premier matches of the weekend. You're gonna see Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley battle it out and literally kick the shit out of each other. I think that hopefully this is the time where Drew has his moment. I don't know if WWE is going to want to end Bobby Lashley's title reign this quickly, but at the same time, I do think that they would do something like make good for Drew, because he did. You were right, and he doesn't get enough credit for it. Drew McIntyre, for better or worse, carried the company during one of the most volatile times in wrestling history as far as performing, because performing in front of no crowd is so hard. I can tell you, like, recording videos for me when like I'm not live, and I don't know anyone's watching, or I don't have like a partner like doing it with me, it's extremely difficult.
Right. Because
you're very self-conscious, you're more self-aware, there's less adrenaline, you're less on the spot, which actually, it's weird, it makes it harder. But I think to be able to do it the way he did, and he also was one of the first ones who was out there, breaking the fourth wall and interacting with commentators, trying to make it more of a reasonable and show. I think, and that kind of paved the way for other people to do similar things. I think that he's shown that he can be a leader. He's shown that he can be a true badass face. Again, I think McIntyre is exactly what they wanted Roman to be back in 2016. And I think he's able to do it and do it better. He's able to cut great promos, he's able to make shit writing look great. He's one of the best performers in wrestling, and he has it. I think at WrestleMania, the vision that Vince McMahon had back in 2011 or 2010, it was, when he said that this guy is going to be the next world champion, he's going to be the face of this company, the franchise, all the prototype, all that stuff. It's going to come into reality, and Drew McIntyre will hoist up the WWE title in front of, thousands of people at WrestleMania, finally getting the moment that he deserves, finally getting the moment that he should have had last year.
Yeah.
And, I think that it's going to be good for him. It's going to be good for wrestling fans. And you know what? It's going to be great for Bobby Lashley, because it's going to keep him in the title picture still. Because they could do rematches. Like, Drew can drop the title. Like, he can get squashed, I think. This would be an interesting storyline. Squashed by Lashley at the next pay-per-view or something. And then it'll mean even more for Drew to be on the chase again. But if you're asking me who should win, it should be Drew McIntyre. Who will win? I really hope it's Drew McIntyre.
I think Drew should win it, but I also think, like we talked about this before, and you mentioned it briefly a few minutes ago. I honestly think Lashley's going to win. But Drew should win this belt because of everything he's done, and it's a bigger stage. Like, it's actually people now. He gets the pop he deserves for winning it, but I honestly think Bobby's going to win this one. I do.
Yeah. Well, if he does, then we're going to get more MVP promos, which I'm all for. I love MVP promos.
Oh, yeah, I'm all for MVP promos. I can't speak promos.
Montel Vontavious Porter. Man, I miss his old entrance. Like he had one of the best. Yeah, oh, yeah, the balling. Like he had like the whole like the blow up what's it called? The thing with MVP on it. Yeah. That was tight.
Like a ethnic Power Ranger for a while though, but
yes. Yeah. Oh my. He also had like one of the worst Inferno match spots ever, where he had like the things already burned. Like that was bad. If you guys watch that Inferno match between him and Kane, it's bad. You can't though on the network because a lot of pay-per-views aren't on there. Thank you, Peacock.
Good
also,
job,
hey, Trevor, what do you think of this though? Like before we get into the main event of night one, what do you think of this? So Peacock, if you start WrestleMania, if you watch WrestleMania, right? If you start it even 5 minutes late, you cannot rewind at all once you start. You know that. You can't rewind. There's no playback. There's nothing because they haven't figured that out yet. So at WrestleMania, you better get there on time. Otherwise, you're fucked.
So what you're saying? Okay, can I eventually watch it later too, or is it? Just...
Oh yeah, but it takes some time to process. So if you're up at like 3 a.m., you can watch it later maybe if their servers work.
This is gonna be fun.
It's yep. Yeah. God damn it, pal. I got all the money. Vince is truly the biggest heel in wrestling history. just destroying our hearts. Like, and the funny part is we're gonna buy his product until he's done. Like, we're just gonna keep buying his product. And you know what? And you know, one of the reasons why we're gonna keep buying his product is the main event of night one. So in the main event of night one, the WWE Smackdown Women's Championship will be defended. Sasha Banks will defend her title against the winner of the 2021 Royal Rumble, Bianca Belair. It's going to be the second women's match ever to main event WrestleMania. I think this is the right decision. I always hated the booking of, the Royal Rumble, the winner gets to headline WrestleMania. That's what they would always say. And then the Royal Rumble winner's match is like to kick off the pay-per-view. I think this is a good thing. And if they decide to do 2 nights of WrestleMania going forward, I actually like this thing, like, because you have 2 Royal Rumble winners. Like, I actually like putting both of them on the main events of the show. So kudos to them for doing that. Many are expecting this to be one hell of a matchup. Bianca Belair, her athleticism is second to none. If you watch her matches, she's like out there doing stuff that like not a lot of people are doing, whether they be men or women. Sasha Banks is like in-ring technician. She's a ring general. She's got a very underrated psychology about her in the ring. She knows how to work a crowd, and I think that's one of the things that's been lost for the past year. People's ability to work the crowd and really get the attention and the reaction that they need from the crowd. So I think with the crowd back, Sasha Banks is going to be on her A game. Bianca Belair, this is her moment. I think this is the moment for her to have her showcase match and show that she belongs in the main event and she can carry the company, possibly. But what do you think, Trevor? What do you think about the main event of night one, Belair Banks?
I'm with you. I am so happy that a Royal Rumble winner is actually headlining WrestleMania. And I'm actually even more happy that it's a women's title match, honestly. As we've seen time and time again, even from WWE and other promotions, women can have a place at the head of the show. They have a place in the main event. And I really can't wait for this match. I think both of them are super talented. Sasha Banks is a hell of a in-ring personality. I think she's a hell of a talent. I think she's becoming more of a technician. Bianca Belair to me is a wild card because yes, we know she's a super athlete, but we don't know exactly what she can do in a ring with someone the caliber of Sasha Banks. So I honestly think this is going to be an amazing match, and I think Sasha is probably the talent that can put her over. Um, I mean, there are other wrestlers that can do it, but I think Sasha is better at it, especially at this point.
Yeah, totally agree. I think that, you know, this so I know this is gonna people expect this to be the Bianca Belair show, which I think it will be. I think she'll show out and show like she can belongs, but
Right.
the real star of this match, and I know this is like, foreshadowing and this is way before it's gonna happen, but I'm expecting the real star of this match to be Sasha Banks.
Right.
And I'm glad it's her because if you really want to make somebody, yeah, you can pair them with Charlotte and she'll have a fine match. You can pair them with like anyone like Alexa Bliss or whoever, right? You could play. You can. There's a lot of people to pair them with, but Sasha Banks has a track record of getting people in this position over. She has a track record, especially as a heel, of being able to work a crowd, of being able to make things look like they hurt. Like to me, she's the total package when it comes to a performer. She's like she's got it all. I think, and there's very few people when you think about it who have like this total package of both the aptitude and the ability, right? On the men's side, you have Daniel Bryan, you have people like Drew McIntyre that we've mentioned. But outside of those like people, you have there's not a lot of people who have the same level of that. And then on the women's side, you have Becky Lynch, who I think has put it together obviously in the past few years, and she's like basically like she's literally the most over person I think on the entire roster. She comes back tomorrow, she's the most over man or woman, doesn't matter. But then I think with Banks though, she's like the total package. She reminds me of Triple H in 2000, and I mean in the way that she's like literally consistently having the best matches. She's having some of the best moments, and the in-ring psychology is second to none. So Bianca Belair is probably going to win, and I think she should win, but both of them are going to win as far as the outcomes of this match. I think Sasha Banks is going to show that she is like a main event player and like prove it to management, prove it to everybody. And I'm looking forward to this. Like, I'm so excited, Trevor.
I think it's going to be a really good one. Like you said, Bianca should win. In my opinion, Bianca should win. But it's going to be a hell of a match. And like honestly, you're probably going to wish both of them could win. But because I honestly think it's going to be a hell of a performance. But I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait.
Yeah, neither can I. Before we move on though to night 2, we're actually doing very good on time. Only 44 minutes into this. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. I want to talk about this because WrestleMania, like last year, is 2 nights, right? And I kind of mentioned this to you before we started, how my biggest pet peeve in wrestling are these 15-hour-long shows in one night. Because, look, I love wrestling, and I watch WrestleMania every year. But damn, am I tired after watching wrestling for 10 hours and watching like 15 matches all the way through. Like WrestleMania 35 was a chore when I watched it. And I was looking forward to that event like no other. Like the main event to me was like the biggest draw ever. That and the Kofi Kingston match. But the fact that event went on like for 10 hours when you think about it, because it went on from like the pre-show started like 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. and it went on after midnight. So like that shouldn't be what you're going for, especially on a Sunday night. That shouldn't be like your goal, to tire your crowd out, especially because we saw what happened at WrestleMania 35. You know, the crowd saw 15 matches, and then the main event, which should have been the most over match on the entire card, they were dead.
Yeah.
Because you only have so much cheering ability in one night. You only have so much stuff. Like I can tell you about WrestleMania 35 personally. Like I was tired, Trevor. I was really tired at WrestleMania.
I was too. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, I think that splitting it up into 2 nights is something that they should do, or at least consider doing going forward. Either that, or they need to cut down the card like to a maximum like 8 matches, like, because 10 matches, it's a lot. You're gonna tire your crowd out. It's gonna be oversaturation, and it's not gonna be fun to watch. You know?
Not at all. Not at all. I've gotten bored with them for a while myself, and sometimes I didn't even watch the whole thing. I kind of just watch certain matches here and there. But honestly, 2 nights makes perfect sense. It's the best format to have it, honestly.
Yeah, I think that 2 nights is good. I know they're not doing it. They don't have it planned at least for WrestleMania 38. Oh God, getting old, pal. WrestleMania 38. They're gonna have that in Dallas. It's not for 2. It's not scheduled to be 2 nights. But I really hope they change that, because this 2-night thing, I'm enjoying it, because I can take like 6-7 matches a night for 2 nights. Like, that's good. Like, you can sell more seats. WWE can profit. You get more money, pal. Like, come on. It's all about the money. Come on. Like it's business wise, it works. Like, you're gonna like make WrestleMania week hell anyway, with the Hall of Fame and double NXT takeover and all that. Just go all in. Just go all in. It's fine. Like, I mean, it's not fine. I don't need to see like 4 major shows in 1 week, but at the same time,
it's a lot. So
yeah, if you're gonna put on like 15 matches on one night, I would rather have you split those up. Just do me a favor, split those up. Give me 3.5 hours each night. Like WrestleMania last year, even though there was no crowd, I watched it and I was like, okay, like that was fine. I was able to get through it fine, and I think I'm gonna be able to get through NXT Takeover both nights fine, and WrestleMania. Like, I don't like some of the matches on there, but I'm going to be able to get through them. And that's the thing. Like, so I think that 2 nights is something WWE should consider for WrestleMania. And they've had a good track record so far of actually keeping pay-per-views this year pretty short. Like, the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble, I was so surprised when the Royal Rumble came around, like, at the end. I was like, oh shit, it's like 10:30.
Yeah,
and I'm not watching wrestling on a pay-per-view night. That's crazy.
The latest that it was on was 11 o'clock, but it was like 11 o'clock on the dot.
No, it was over by 10:30, I think.
Was it really? Okay, wow, okay.
Yeah,
I thought it went over a little bit.
Yeah, and the similar thing, the Fastlane, I think was like 3 hours, maybe even less. Yeah. Like Fastlane, like I got through the live stream easily. So if that's what they're planning, do it, please.
Right.
That's the perfect level of wrestling. Like, and if you can, they won't get rid of another hour of Raw. Like please, just make Raw 2 hours. It's 3 hours is overkill on television. Like, come on. Like,
it'd be one thing if the product was better than what it is, but like, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the interest. I'm sick of all of it. Just like, have a 15-minute show. Now, watch me.
Okay, 15 minutes might be a little goddamn pal. You got to fit Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns in 15 minutes.
Right, I'm sorry. I want to have
Roman goes over. Spear, punch, end. killing your dreams, kid. But yeah, no, I think like they should be shorter than what they are now. I think 7-hour shows are crazy, but I'm gonna, again, this is why I'm looking forward to WrestleMania 2. I'm genuinely enjoying like the shorter shows. But let's go over to night 2. Let's take a look at what they got. On night 2, we have Riddle versus Sheamus for the U.S. title. The women's tag team title match, which is going to be the number 1 contender, is going to be determined by the tag team turmoil. Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn and Trevor's favorite YouTuber, Logan Paul. And we have The Fiend versus Randy Orton in what looks like going to be a singles match. We'll talk about that. Big E versus Apollo Crews in a Nigerian drum fight. Asuka versus Rhea Ripley for the SmackDown Women's title. And to end the night, Roman Reigns defends his WWE Universal Championship against Daniel Bryan and Edge. Okay, so Another stacked night of wrestling. Another stacked night of shenanigans. Let's get to some shenanigans. We're not even gonna talk. Actually, no, we're not even gonna talk about Riddle versus Sheamus. We're gonna go right into the money match for tonight. The big money match. Trevor's favorite match.
Okay.
Owens versus Zayn. Owens versus Sami Zayn for the 150,000th time in the past 3 years. They will be going. They will be doing something together around WrestleMania time. So the two are set to have a match that will feature YouTube star Logan Paul. I know you feel some kind of way about this, Trevor, but what happened was Sami Zayn reached out to Logan Paul, I think, on Twitter, and then he responded to something. And, they already had this, I think, figured out. But,
Yeah.
Look, I know we talked about getting eyes on the product and all that kind of stuff, right? But Logan Paul, like you got the one Paul brother in this match who doesn't even fight, who can't even fight. He's not even the best fighter in his family.
No.
Like if they brought Jake Paul on, I would get it. Like, you know what? Jake Paul, scumbag. We hate him, right, Trevor? But
Right.
at the same time, the dude is a legitimate fighter. He's won all his fights, and he's gonna get like a more fighting centric eyes on the product.
Right.
Like this is just them like, oh goddamn, we gotta get a Paul brother. Like I don't
why
like
that
it.
equals money or success.
Yeah, I don't like it. What do you think?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry. I can't stand any of the Paul brothers. I think Logan is a bigger shitbag than his brother, but they're both shitbags, and I can't stand either one of them. But if you were going to have one of the Paul brothers, like you said, Jake would make sense because he is the fighter. He's the one that fights. I mean, granted, he's fought a basketball player and other YouTubers, but still, he's a fighter. He has some skill. But
R.I.P. Nate Robinson.
I think he's still laying on the mat, actually. But like, what makes you say, you know what? What is this WrestleMania missing? We have Shane wrestling Braun Strowman. Brilliant. What are we missing? Another useless match that we've seen thousands of times. How about Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens? Works. They work well together. It'll be great. People aren't tired of it yet. And what are we going to add to it? Logan Paul. Absolutely great. Let me go outside and drink my sorrows away. Like, this is the dumbest shit possible. Like, I don't think, and he's not going to make the match any better.
Oh no. He's going to. Can I give you my prediction? Because I know exactly what's going to happen here.
I mean, because I'm pretty sure about it too. So please.
Yeah, I mean, look, tell me if I'm wrong, Trevor.
Okay.
Zayn and Owens are going to wrestle a match that's going to happen. Logan Paul is going to at some point come in with a steel chair when the referee's knocked down or some shit like that. And then it looks like he's going to help Zayn, but he turns his back on Sami Zayn because Sami Zayn's a scumbag heel. And then Logan Paul helps Kevin Owens win or something like that. It's basically going to be it's going to be a shitty version of Tyson in the Stone Cold Shawn Michaels main event at WrestleMania 14.
Yeah.
It's going to be that light. But I think it's, look, if this gets some people interested in wrestling, sure. But at the same time, it's just like, again, I don't think wrestling fans are going to buy the pay-per-view or buy Peacock or watch it on Peacock for this match. I think it's an audience that I don't even know if like you're going to be able to build a consistent base with the audience that you're getting here. Then that's why I said Jake Paul would have been better, because at least with Jake Paul, those people are interested in some sort of combat sports, and you know, and so there's a bit of a crossover with wrestling because it's it's scripted, but it has that combat sports type feel. So like that's my thing about it. It's just a weak celebrity thing too. It's just, I don't know if they couldn't get anyone, and also like you're telling me like Logan Paul he apparently got his own private jet like in this deal. Like he's like flying back and forth between LA and Orlando for this shtick he's doing.
A private car.
Like I don't know. Look, I didn't know who Logan Paul was until his brother started fighting. So, yeah, like that's.
I've known about the Paul brothers, both of them.
He's like, Trevor's out here like, oh, I know about the Paul brothers. Don't don't. It's like I've known about the Paul brothers since the summer of '68. A prophecy foretold this happening.
Like. I love YouTubers. I mean, I do. I think some great.
Thank you.
But, I mean, shit. I'm technically one of them now.
Yeah.
But it's just like some of them, and some being Logan Paul and Jake Paul, just assholes.
I think the thing is they come off as entitled pricks. I think that's what it is. Like to some people, they come off as entitled pricks, and it's an easy thing I think to happen to YouTubers, right? Because you're suddenly getting all this clout and look, when I hit 300 subscribers, I texted you. I was like, yeah. I was
did. I mean,
I was feeling some kind of way about myself, but like it was also in jest because I'm like, yo, like come on, like this is like I do this for fun, right?
Right.
But at the same time, like. At some point, you got to just also be like, all right, I entertain people for a living. I'm not that much of like, the shits. Like you gotta temper your own ego at some point. But
absolutely,
yeah, I don't think they've done a good job of doing that. Jake Paul though, I hear he's on the verge of possibly wrestling or fighting Mayweather, I think it was, or
Mayweather and what was the other guy? There was a MMA fighter that can't think of the guy's name. But,
is it Kobe Covington? Because I want to see someone beat the shit out of Kobe Covington.
Oh, it's not Kobe Covington. He's another shitbag. But it's
dude. Kobe Covington, dude. His shtick, like, look. I get it. Much like in wrestling, you gotta have a gimmick in UFC. That's fine. I know McGregor does it. But Covington is just like, he made Trump his entire gimmick. His entire gimmick is Trump. I love Trump. Like, yeah, you're going to get heat like that, but it's like going to be X-Pac heat. 2-time Hall of Fame X-Pac heat. And he's already like, and like, that's the thing too. It's like an easy thing. Like, that's like almost something that's too easy. Just like, what's your gimmick? Oh yeah, I'm going to get heat as a Trump supporter. Like,
right.
That's your gimmick, like, and like if that's and you don't even cut, he doesn't even cut good promos.
No, he's terrible. He's a great fighter. I give him that. I like his skills. I think he's decent, but everything else, he's a complete shitbag. And like some of the interviews he does, like he gets over well as like this complete asshole. That works because he actually is. But like other than that, like Covington go fuck himself.
Yeah, I mean, like his whole thing, it's the Trump thing, but it's also like that's not even why I hate him, to be honest with you. Like I hate him because he's not creative.
Yeah,
and he's not entertaining. Like McGregor will go out there and he will say the worst shit. Like he will say like stuff that's borderline racist,
right.
And stuff like that, right? But it's weird because his delivery is actually good, and like he's doing a gimmick, right? But his like he'll deliver it well. He knows how to rile up a crowd. He knows how to work a crowd and be entertaining. Also, with Covington, he doesn't even do that. He's just out there like, I want to thank President Trump for this victory and keeping America great, and I can't cut a promo, but Trump 2021. Like,
I mean, you just know it's a work. You know it's just to piss people off. It's not to do anything else but to piss people off.
It's to piss people off and to mask the fact that he can't talk. Khabib Nurmagomedov, he's probably one, and I love Khabib, objectively one of the worst promos in MMA, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But you know what the funny thing is? He's probably the most badass fighter because, if you can't cut promos, it's not the end-all be-all in MMA. In wrestling, you kind of need the ability to get over with a crowd like that. But but it's not the end all be on MMA. If you go out there and you kick people's ass, and you just show up, kick people's ass, and leave, sometimes that's good enough. And you know what? For Khabib, it works because what does he do? He comes out. He was like, Khabib, what are you gonna do? At UFC 260, I smash him. Like and then he goes and he smashes people.
But that's what you want.
But Covington, like, I don't know what it is. I think he's looking for clout because all these other fighters have clout and he doesn't. Everyone's trying to jump on the Conor bandwagon, right? The whole like, man, I need to get over with like with a gimmick or a promo, and like they don't. And it's the same people that make fun of pro wrestling, right? The same people who make fun of professional wrestling. Oh, it's fake. It's a work. Dana White will go out there and say it's fake and it's a work. But then what do his fighters do? Like a lot of his big fighters, his best fighters, Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor, Cain Velasquez. What do they do? And why are they watching, or why do they do UFC? Because they grew up watching wrestling. And why are they good promos? Because they grew up watching wrestling. Like, and look, I'm not saying if you're a fan of MMA, you should be a fan of wrestling. Like, no, watch whatever you want, do whatever you want. But I hate it when UFC people shit on wrestling, like to the extent that they do, and then don't realize that their entire sport at this point is inspired by pro wrestling. There's no UFC. No one was watching like mixed martial arts until UFC became like entertaining. Until like God bless Ken Shamrock and Dan Severn, also who went to wrestling after they joined the UFC. Like God bless them, but nobody was watching it until like, you know, the promo showed up. And then Brock Lesnar showed up, really. Like that was like when UFC, like, it was already big, but it went like super over. So I hate to see the hypocrisy. You know, fuck Kobe Covington. He's a scumbag. If you know, fuck Dana White too for not wearing a mask, and like he's doing this thing. I covered it in a video this week where he's like doing like so they're bringing back fans, right?
Right.
They're bringing back fans for an indoor event, and it's going to be 15,000 people in April, like the end of this month. 50,000 people indoors, no masks. Trevor.
Oh, he's not promoting masks at all.
No, well he doesn't wear a mask.
Okay. But are they going to be wearing masks? Is it?
It's up to them to decide if they want to.
Oh, okay. So COVID number 27 is coming out.
15,000 people are going to be spreading COVID in the Jacksonville area. So Tony Khan might want to move to Atlanta for some tapings. But
exactly, definitely, because you got dumbasses fucking shit up to people.
Yep, making America something again. I hate getting political, but God damn, some of these people make it hard. Anyway, let's move on because I think we spent a good amount of time just shitting on things we don't like. I think we should probably talk about something that we kind of like.
That's a lot of fun, but we got work to do.
Oh God! And speaking of work, you know what needs work? The build up to this match. All right, so let's talk about it, Trevor. So at WrestleMania, The Fiend will face Randy Orton in what looks like it's going to be a singles match. After being burned alive by Randy Orton at TLC back in December, The Fiend was resurrected by Alexa Bliss. And he came back as Jason 2.0, burnt to a crisp, this ugly mask that I have a graphic of right there. And now The Fiend will get his revenge against Randy Orton in a regular wrestling match. They haven't built up a Firefly Funhouse. They've said nothing like that. The card still says a singles match, so looks like that's what we're getting. No Firefly Funhouse, nothing of that. No Bullocks. No BS. Just a wrestling match. And if there's one match on the card that probably shouldn't be a wrestling match, you would think it would be this one. But Trevor, how disappointed are you? And how disappointed are you, honestly? Thinking that this might be a wrestling match.
I'm super disappointed because remember we've been talking about it for weeks. I feel like almost a month now about how this match, like the follow up to their meetup, and how good the Fiend's character has been, how good the storyline's been. But as I touched on last week, and you did well. It's hit a lull. It has hit a lull. It is sinking to be super low, and it's almost to the point where you're not interested anymore. And then you bring the Fiend back. You showcase this new mask, and he's all burnt up, and he wants his revenge on Randy Orton in a wrestling match. That makes absolute sense. This man that was burned alive, supposedly, and he's been making Randy Orton cough up something that looks like oil for a car. Like, it's just, we need more action.
Don't get me started. We
need more action.
You know how much I hate that gimmick.
Oh, that shit is so stupid. It's dumb. Like, we need something more than just a wrestling match. Like you said, Funhouse match, or like let Randy Orton wrestle in a viper pit. You know, he is the apex predator. Let's wrestle somewhere. Let's do something. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, it's it's disappointing because you mentioned it. This is a trend that's been happening with the Fiend over the past year. Ever since the last match at a pay-per-view that I can remember, other than TLC, right? That the Fiend actually had a performance where you were like, oh shit, this is awesome, you know, and it lived up to the build-up, was John Cena at WrestleMania 37 or 36, the Firefly Funhouse. But then the feud with Bray Wyatt, it was built up very good. Then they had their swamp match, and it was eh. And then, you know, they went to SummerSlam. They had the Fiend won the title in the squash regular wrestling match, and that's what the Fiend does. He wins his squashes in singles matches, which is fine. That should be what the gimmick is when he's wrestling singles matches. But what you've noticed is that at pay-per-views, when the Fiend is built up to wrestle, it always underdelivers, and like, that's the sad part, because it's not the fault of Bray Wyatt as a performer. It's not the fault of Randy Orton or who he's wrestling. It's just they put him in a situation where I don't think anyone really could succeed. And for this feud, we saw the Fiend on fire. In an Inferno match, he was on fire, and he still ran over and gave Randy Orton the big claw. And then he was burnt. He was burnt to a crisp. And then we saw Alexa Bliss resurrect the Fiend. And now he's going to get his vengeance in a wrestling match? Like, come on. Like, you had a chance, WWE, to have floating turrets on the Peacock Network. How's that for your standards and practices? You had a chance to have floating turrets, which, like, come on. They robbed us of another Firefly Funhouse match, which, okay, that's bad enough, right? But on top of that, you're not even gonna have like a hardcore match, like
or unsanctioned match, or something to that level. You know what I mean?
It's
anywhere falls count anywhere. I quit something.
Last man standing, you casket match. Give me something. Bury alive. Do a boneyard match, brother. Right. Like, give me something to work with. Don't just say, like, oh, well, yeah, the Fiend, brother, he's gonna wrestle. Ha. See? Anyone who says I don't like wrestling matches, I like wrestling. The Fiend's gonna wrestle. Like, the one person who shouldn't be wrestling. Just have him wrestle.
Exactly, he's gonna wrestle.
It's infuriating because this is the big draw of the Fiend, I think, is this type of psychological warfare. I think that's the big draw of the Fiend. You don't have to have him wrestle. He can do this kind of cinematic stuff and make it work. And I think the reason we're seeing this possibly is because there's fans back at Mania, and maybe they want to get a big pop from the Fiend.
Right.
And, you know, okay, what I would like to see maybe, if they're going to go down this route, is like maybe like midway through the match, like, the Fiend transports Randy Orton somewhere, and like they do some sort of thing, maybe like. But what I don't want to see is like a repeat of their match at 33, where they did the gimmick with the cockroaches projected onto the ring. That was like killed that crowd at WrestleMania 33. Oh my God! And you know what? It's the same people again, and. Trevor, who should win this match, and who's gonna win this match? Oh,
What'd you do?
go ahead.
Bray Wyatt should probably win this match. It would be more fun that way, even if especially if it was a actual like match of interest. I believe Randy Orton's gonna win it.
Oh, why do you say Randy Orton's gonna win it? That's interesting.
Well, the only reason I think Randy Orton's gonna win it is because one, what else would anybody else think? They think Fiend's gonna win, right? What would be a big like fuck you? Randy Orton win it.
Okay, so I understand. Okay, so you're going into this thinking that WWE. Okay, I know. We already know they don't give a shit about their audience. That's fine, right? But you're going into this thinking they really don't give a shit about their audience.
No. I mean, even not saying taking anything away from Fiend Bray Wyatt's skills, actually, because he has skills in the ring. But honestly, if it's a match of interest, Bray Wyatt wins hands down. He's supposed to win that. I mean, Randy's supposed to win that with those matches too. But I just think that's one of those things that we were already fucking pissed off what's going on with it anyway. I think that's a big like, take this, you fans. If Randy actually wins. I mean, I want the Fiend to win, but you know.
To quote Vince McMahon, you don't like what you like. You like what I tell you to like. And I mean, look, I've been wrong before, but this looks like it's going to disappoint, and it's again a wait. It's if it does, and if they only do a singles match, it's a waste of this entire build. Because because I mean, look, you got to do something, man. Like you can't just because like let's be honest, if it's a straight wrestling match, the Fiend is just gonna go over. It shouldn't. Basic psychology of like the way that these two have been built, especially the Fiend as a character. There's no question the Fiend squashes Randy Orton. Because nothing you do affects the Fiend. Right. Like that's one thing we know. The Roman Reigns is like freaking speared him. Braun Strowman did like 5 like whatever press slams on him, did not affect him. Now we all can't be Goldberg with his suplex, right? But like that killer, man, like that destroys even the biggest and boldest of enemies.
It has.
Only in Saudi Arabia though. It's only effective in Saudi Arabia against the Fiend. But I don't think that this is. I don't know what good can come out of it. It's like, the Fiend wins at WrestleMania, woohoo! But it's, again, not what we want. It's not what we expect, and it's at this point, it looks like it's guaranteed to disappoint, and that's sad because we all love what the Fiend's doing. This horror gimmick, the Firefly Funhouse match, was amazing last year. They should do something similar this year, but they won't.
Nope.
Hey, something that might be interesting, though, at WrestleMania is the Nigerian drum fight. So, we talked about Big E and Apollo Crews. They're going to be doing battle for the Intercontinental Championship. Apollo Crews is in the middle of his gimmick where he's getting back to his roots, and it's I think it's very entertaining. I mean, anything Apollo Crews does, doing something for Apollo Crews at this point is entertaining. Yeah. But they're going to be wrestling for the Intercontinental title. They had their match cut short by a botch at Fastlane, and now they're going to be doing battle in a Nigerian drum fight, which I believe is a street fight where Nigerian drums are going to be highly recommended as weapons. So, Trevor, what do you think about this match? What do you think about, the build, how we kind of got here, and what the outlook is?
You know what? Honestly, the build for this match isn't bad, actually. It could have been a little stronger, but it was a tad bit weak, especially being one of Apollo's like really premier like feuds, especially in this new persona. I think it could be. I think it might be good. Like you said, they had a botch that ended a very good. What I thought, and we both agreed actually, was a very good start, a very good match at Fastlane. They worked very well together. You had again Big E like dominating early on, which looked like he was comfortable in his role. And then you had Apollo Crews come back and they worked well together. It worked really, really well. But of course, the botch messed it up, and so they do it again. And honestly, to me, this is one of those matches that honestly could have just been a wrestling match. You know what I mean? I mean, I like the stipulation, even though I don't really know what a Nigerian drum match is. Like you said, it's probably a street fight. But this is one that could have just been a wrestling match. You know what I mean? Like, it could have just been a wrestling match, and you could have gotten a good product out of it because you saw what they can do together at Fastlane. You've seen them wrestle before. They work well together. I mean, this might be a bit unnecessary, but I am willing to watch it. I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, the stipulation, I think, is more to get over Apollo Crews and his gimmick. Because we saw a similar thing with the Punjabi prison matches that were instant classics, by the way.
Of course.
I love how in the first Punjabi prison match, it was built around Khali. And then Khali didn't end up wrestling it. Like, the day of the pay-per-view, they switched to the Big Show, who wasn't even on SmackDown. But
no, he wasn't. Not at all.
But I think this is to get his whole his gimmick over, and I think it's fine. Again, it adds to what he's doing, which when Apollo Crews does something, it is an automatic win because he was boring, bland-ass baby Lashley for the past, 5 years. So I like that. And you know what's weird? You know how we talked about the botch and how that kind of ruined what could have been a show-stealing match and what looked like it was? I think that actually has ended up helping this build in a weird way because I think now they have the ability to go and have a show-stealing match at a bigger stage. Because if they did it at Fastlane, that would have gotten more eyes on Apollo Crews, but then if they redid the match, it probably would have been as good at Mania. So now I think, they have a chance, and I think this has the potential to be a show-stealing match that nobody sees coming. Big E is, he's been underutilized, we know this, as a singles competitor for a long time. And, I think he got over with the New Day gimmick, and I'm glad they actually separated him because he's got potential to be a world champion. Apollo Crews has always had potential to accomplish anything, do something. But, he's been hindered, unlike Jinder. And I think that, this is a match I think they both want to prove, especially after their botch last week. These are two people who are driven. They want to prove that they are... that they're capable of having a great match together. And it's going to catch a lot of people by surprise. And quote me on this. This is not a piss break match. This is not a match where you're going to go, okay, let's go re-up the snacks. No, the match for that is definitely the Logan Paul, Sami Zayn thing. But I think that this match is going to be way more entertaining than people are going to give it credit for. I think it has a chance to be, up there as far as matches. It's not going to be match of the night. We'll get to what I think is going to be match of the night in a little bit, but Apollo Crews' gimmick change, I think, has proven that he has the range to actually look like a threat, and that's something he hasn't really been, because he's just been like a mid-carder. He's been a freaking like boring, bland ass mid-carder for the past 5 years, who doesn't show. She shows in-ring ability, but literally nothing else. And to be successful in WWE, to be successful anywhere, you have to be able to show something. And I think that he's been able to put it together. Cannot wait. And honestly, this is a match. I don't know who's gonna win. For me, I'm gonna say I want Apollo Crews to win, but I think Big E's gonna win because usually what we see is people who in wrestling, people who have these types of stipulations where it's their match. Usually they don't win. Khali never won a Punjabi prison match. Jinder is a lone exception to this rule, by the way. God bless Jinder. Whenever we start doing wrestling reviews, first thing, man, we have to review Jinder's his reign of terror on SmackDown 2017. Amazing. But honestly, Undertaker too in the Barry Live matches. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, Undertaker. A couple others. The Funhouse match with the Fiend, he won his.
Yeah, that's true.
But like you said, I think this match is going to be good. I think if whoever wins is going to help them a I mean, and they have pushed the Cruz a little bit the past couple years. He had his first title reign last year, and wasn't he in a couple Money in the Bank ladder matches?
Yeah, he was in a couple. I think he had a U.S. title reign as well last year too. I think that's the thing. He's been a mid carder, but he hasn't been. You don't notice him. You don't notice him. That's the thing.
You know, I don't know if it's the way they're writing him. I don't know if it's just his personality or what it is exactly. But you don't really notice him. He's a great athlete, though. Amazing.
Yeah, he's kind of like when you hold like a mid card belt like that, it means nothing anymore. Like I forgot. I've seen Matt Riddle hold the U.S. title multiple times in the past few weeks. I keep forgetting who the U.S. champion is. That shouldn't happen.
But that's a shame too, because like the U.S. belts and stuff like that, those are the matches you used to watch back growing up. Like the Intercontinental matches were so great. Like you had so many good champions. Like you had, I mean, his gimmick was terrible, and he really couldn't wrestle that well. But Honky Tonk Man, one of the longest reign Intercontinental champions. Then you missed the perfect reign. You had Shawn Michaels title reign. Like you had some good title reigns with that belt. Miz, Y2J,
Randy Orton, Chris, all 17 of Chris Jericho's reigns.
Exactly.
Bret Hart. I think Bret Hart was amazing. Shawn Michaels, especially like that was like the golden era for the U.S. title or for the Intercontinental title. Right. And the U.S. title kind of did a very similar thing early on in the SmackDown 6 era. Like you saw Benoit and Guerrero have classics. But we haven't. But I think like that's part of the oversaturation of the product too. Like over time, the mid-card belts have been meant significantly less because like you have random people who you don't plan a build around. You just give them the title to give them the title. You don't plan anything around them, and it doesn't feel like a big win when they win. And they've hot-shotted the belt way too much. It's just like you're not excited. Unless someone like John Cena is doing an open challenge, you have to you have to actively try to get that draw in from like someone like John Cena. And you're not watching it for the U.S. title, you're watching it for John Cena at that point. So that's the thing. Like the title doesn't mean as much, So that's the thing, and I think the way AEW has done it with their Dynamite TNT Championship, I think that's a good way to do it because. What we're seeing that the champion is making the title mean something. They're not facing Darby Allin to face Darby Allin, right? With his little open challenges that he's been doing. Same thing with Cody Rhodes beforehand. They're facing them to win that title, and they're making the title the emphasis. It's like they're not calling it the Darby Allin Open Challenge. They're calling it the TNT Open Challenge. Before it was the John Cena Open Challenge, not the U.S. title Open Challenge, right? So. It's about how you spin it. It's about how you build it up. And you have to make the titles mean something. Because if they're meaningless and if people don't care about them, then you're not going to be able to get people over with the belts, which is the whole point of giving like people who aren't at the level of world champion these belts. So WWE at some point has to learn to how to make these things mean something again. And part of it, you might have to get rid of like the U.S. title at this point, to be honest, because there's too many titles to keep track of.
Yeah, you might. I mean, I get it. They want each show to have an even amount of belts, but like
it's not even like they're not two shows. Corbin was on fucking Raw the other night. Like it doesn't. The brand split means nothing, man. Nothing means anything.
Up is down, left is right, and Vince McMahon's a great owner. It's just a lot.
Not.
I totally agree. But back to, I think Big E will win. But I think Apollo Crews should win.
Oh, I like that. I think Apollo. I think the same. All right. Before we get to our penultimate main event this is going to be interesting because this is a match that I don't think has gotten a lot of matches. By the way, I'm saying this about a lot of matches. A lot of matches have not gotten the build that they need going into WrestleMania. It's weird. Like the main event matches have
ones that are getting the push.
You need to, push Logan Paul to the moon. Future 24/7 7-Eleven champion. Push him to the moon, baby. No.
if you see R-Truth and Logan Paul fight for that belt. That would be hilarious.
I would feel somewhat culpable for that happening, and I would probably suspend myself from the show. But no, so I think one of the things I wanted to touch on, because I don't know about you, I think we're going about the same length, I think, as last week, but I feel significantly less tired than I did last week.
I feel like we're this one's faster, I guess. I don't know why. It seems like it's going by a little faster.
Because we're not talking about X-Pac, the two-time Hall of Famer.
You said you would never mention his name again.
God, dude, I still can't believe X-Pac
is that on right now?
Apparently. Whoops. I can't believe X-Pac is getting in the NWO at the same night Eric Bischoff is getting in by himself. Like, and he's not getting in the NWO. That makes zero sense to me.
No, it makes no sense. But Xbox is getting in the fucking.
Dude, 3-time Hall of Famer, man. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen.
1, 2, 3 kid.
The click, baby, the click. Oh, and then the 1, 2, 3 kids got to get in, and then you have to get 6 in too, and then Sean Waltman, of course, by himself, and it's never gonna end.
No, we're gonna be like 60, and this fool's got in posthumously 7 times.
The 16-time woo Hall of Famer X-Pac. Oh, God help us. Anyway, one thing that's happening on Friday. So they taped Friday's SmackDown actually last week. So they're doing a little bit of a different show this week. They're kind of building up, I think, more of the mid-card events, and then they're doing, like, I think, sit-down kind of thing for the main event, which we'll get into in a minute. But I think that's interesting. And they're having the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on the SmackDown Go Home show, which I think, it's probably a good idea. It comes to this whole idea of, I think, getting everyone on the show. And there's this idea for WrestleMania that you need to get everyone on the show to, get everyone a WrestleMania payday and all that kind of stuff, right? That's the whole thinking in WWE. What they don't realize is you could just give everyone a WrestleMania bonus anyway. Right? Like, I don't think there's a problem with that. I think, because I like the idea of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, to begin with. My problem with it, though, as it went on was, like many things in WWE, it started to mean nothing. Because what do you gain by it? Who's gotten over with the Memorial Battle Royal? Like, look at the winners.
Just about to say, actually.
Yeah.
But Cesaro won it once, right?
Cesaro won it, and then the Big Show. Then I think, was it Corbo? It was Baron Corbin? Yeah, Baron Corbin won it.
Yeah.
And then
Braun
won it in 2017, and then in 2018 it was, I don't even remember who it was, to be honest. And I don't even. And then I think, oh no, it was Matt Hardy, right? Matt Hardy won one of those. I don't know, like you know what I'm saying. So
the thing to me is, like you said, it doesn't really mean much anymore. We can get like a trophy that says you won it. Like, why don't you get a future shot at the belt? Like,
that would make too much damn sense, Trevor. Like,
right? I'm sorry, this logic shit that I go through.
Like, stop thinking logic. This is not AEW, all right? Things don't mean anything. You don't like what you like. You like what I tell you to like, pal. Now pay me money and give him. You see, Peacock, I'm making everyone money. Hey, Saudi Arabia. That's a nice stadium there. We could have Goldberg go over again, brother. Dude, you know what I want? Look, I know he's a scumbag, right? But if you're going to fly Hulk Hogan out to Saudi Arabia anyway, right? Like I would just go all in on it. I want to see, you know how he has the red and yellow, brother? I want to see the green and the white. I want to see Saudi Hogan. I feel like Saudi Hogan would be amazing. Saudi Hogan,
something that we didn't think we ever needed.
Something we didn't think we ever needed to see. But you know what? I really want to see it. I feel like Saudi Hogan would get over. And look, like, it's really hard for racist Hulk Hogan to get over. But
the funniest thing would be he would wear that and still come out to "I'm a real American." That'd be the funniest shit possible.
Dude, yes. Actually, oh my God, can we? Somebody in WWE, listen to the sound of my voice. If we can make Saudi Hogan happen, I think Saudi Hogan is a winner. That is a best gimmick you can do. Like,
I mean, done worse.
Oh my God, like just, that'd be amazing. Just imagine like the green and the white, brother. And then you got like what else can you do? You could do like you could actually do something with that. You could have him like Saudi Hogan versus Saudi Flair. I think they already did that. Oh, there he is. I found it. Saudi Hogan. Yes, that's what I want.
Oh my God.
Like, look, I'm not gonna watch the show anyway because I think Saudi Arabia's terrible, and Hulk Hogan as well. But this would be, this is worth the $9.99, brother. Like,
let the demonetization begin.
Oh God bless him. God, no, actually no. I'm sorry, you get sidetracked. I like literally just found that and I was like, oh, we have to have that in the show.
That was great.
Oh yeah. All right, let's continue. Let's continue on with the show, and let's talk about the Raw Women's World Championship. Although they don't call it a World Championship, they probably should. Actually, you know what they should do? This is. I promise this is going to be a very, very short sidebar. I think like they should like we have the Universal title, right? And we have the WWE title. Why don't they call the women's title like the Raw World Championship and the SmackDown World Championship, right? I feel like because I feel like that would help get the belts over a little bit, and you know, like it would also get rid of like this whole thing like, oh, it's the women's title, you know, like. And I'm not saying like, you know, that's necessarily a bad thing, right? I think like they should also be recognized as world champions, and like I think there's maybe a need to say it. And they don't have the world heavyweight title anymore. They have this Universal title, so you can do that. I think that works. Doesn't AEW do that?
I don't know. What is the belt called?
I think it's the women's world. It's the women's world championship.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So yeah, they're getting that over too. So it's a world title.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's been a thing talked about in women's wrestling, especially WWE. There are actually a lot of women on my Facebook page that love wrestling, and when I talk about it, they feel the same way about women's wrestling. Right? They're not getting enough exposure, not getting enough push. I think they are slowly getting more pushes now. But honestly, and the biggest thing is the belt. People talk about the belt all the time. Like, why isn't the women's heavyweight belt? Why isn't the women's world belt? Like, why does it just have to be the women's belt? Like, they should get the same thing. I don't know. I think, like you said, it will help push the belt over a little more, and also help for little girls that are getting into wrestling and stuff like that too. You know,
it's like they are world champions. Like Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey, and it didn't main event WrestleMania. You know, for shits and giggles. They didn't for a token title. They fought for a world championship. I think, you know, and I'm not saying like, you know, the connotation of women is bad, right? That's not at all what we're trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that I think that it would actually help get them over and kind of get rid of this like separation. Because I understand you can't have like, you know, like you shouldn't have like, you know, like. Yeah, the like everyone like the women, I guess, like fighting every single week for the same like world championship, right? And now that's not what the route they're gonna go. But what you can do, I think, is do it in a way that you can do it in a way that like you can separate them out, right? And call the women's title the world title, and recognize that these women are at the same level as the men's world championship. So that way you don't have to say like, oh my God, Sasha Banks is like a 3-time women's championship. No, she's the 3-time world champion, right? That makes sense. Yeah, and
it stop singling out. Like, you know what I mean? Why does it have to be single? Like, just let it be the same, you know? We know they're women. We can tell they're women.
We know that it's like my whole thing, like, oh, they call it the women's Royal Rumble. Like, oh, okay, we know what you're talking about. Just when you say Bianca Belair won the Royal Rumble, I know she won the I know which one she won. You don't have to tell me it's the women's Royal Rumble. I know Edge didn't win the women's Royal Rumble. I know he won. I know which one he won. Just say that. Just say it. It's like unnecessarily making it a little more a little more separate. Which I don't know whether that's a like thing they do on purpose or like it's ingrained. But I think it's kind of overplayed at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
You know what else is overplayed? My sidebars. I apologize profusely. Let's all right. So let's get into this. So for the Raw Women's Championship, Asuka will be defending her title against Rhea Ripley, and the build-up for this again has been not great. No. I think Asuka has, she's. I think Rhea Ripley has been built up fine. I think they're going to have hopefully a fine match. Can they have like a show-stealing match? Sure. But, I think the build-up, though, has been lackluster, quite frankly. But, Trevor, what do you think? Asuka and Rhea Ripley.
I totally agree. I touched on this a little bit last week. We talked about that abysmal Raw show. And we talked about some of the promos that really just had no need to be on the show. And I feel like Asuka and Ripley was one of them. I feel like the build up to this has been absolutely terrible. I think Ripley's, just fine. I think she's been built up a little bit just fine, but I think the overall match is lackluster. I think they're kind of making Asuka look like a joke at this point. With like her press conference and the giggling and things like that. I mean, like Asuka came in the no nonsense wrestler that was undefeated that magically lost to Charlotte Flair at her first go at the title. And like she, honestly, I think since then she has gone downhill, not in her skills, but the way they build her. I honestly think they're building her as kind of a joke in this particular rivalry. Could they have a good match? Yeah, because both girls can work. Both women can work well. Ripley is a hell of a worker. I love watching her perform. Asuka as well. I love her strong style moderations that she uses to her ability. Is this match necessary? I said necessary twice. Not really. I mean, yeah, I want to see her defend this belt, but to me, if the build-up was better, then I'd be more excited for this match. But I'm not.
Yeah, I agree. See, for me, sorry, got to change the camera. See, for me, I think that Rhea Ripley, this is her match. I think this is like they're kind of making this her big match, which I'm all for. And I hate the way they've treated Asuka. And this goes back to her Royal Rumble winner. All right, remember, Asuka won the Royal Rumble.
She sure did.
And it was like, it's the same year as Shinsuke Nakamura won, right? And these are two of the most over people at the time to win that Royal Rumble. And fans loved it because they're both unexpected. And I agree with you. The way that they treated Asuka at WrestleMania 34, and like, it ended up meaning very little, her losing. Like, I would be fine with her losing to Charlotte if they were going to build up Charlotte as an unstoppable force for years to get someone else over, right? And to make more entertaining stuff.
Right.
But that's not what they did. And she never got her win back. So her win streak, which went all the way back to her time in NXT, didn't mean anything. Like, and like, that's the thing, man. Like, that's what happens when you have this week-to-week booking that you don't know what you're going to do and you don't have a set storyline, a set idea that you're sticking to. When that happens, you this kind of stuff is becomes apparent, and you work yourself into like a terrible program. And Asuka, like she still puts out great matches, and she's entertaining and fun and all that stuff, but at the same time, she should be like 10 times the star she is right now. And she has the potential. I don't know why they never went full swing with her, because the thing is, she can sell merch, her masks, her drapes, like all of this stuff. Like, she could sell merch. She's legitimately a badass. She's got a great like look. Her gimmick is awesome. I never got it, and it's kind of sad because I think she has to lose this match. She has to lose. Like, I think Rhea Ripley, especially after last year, like, if you don't have her win, you're gonna put her in a similar position to Asuka, because the unfortunate truth at this point, if Asuka wins, it's gonna change very little. If Rhea Ripley wins, it's gonna change something, and that's the position that WWE has booked this storyline into. So I think Rhea Ripley needs to win, and she will end up winning. But don't put it past WWE to do something that makes zero sense.
Right. I mean, it is WWE we're talking about. But no, I totally agree. Like, I honestly believe after what happened last year, and honestly, I thought that was a little unfair. I feel like for a long time, they gave Charlotte Flair almost everything. She wanted everything she touched. I didn't think letting her lose to Charlotte, letting Ripley lose to Flair made any sense, especially when Flair dropped it 2 months later to Io Shirai. But no, it just didn't make a lot of sense to me. But this year, you almost have to let Rhea win. Like, there's no other way to do it. Like you said, if Asuka wins, Asuka fans will be happy, but it's not going to mean much. Rhea wins, it changes the landscape completely. Like, it changes the people who might be her next opponent. It just changes things completely. So I would like Asuka to win if it meant something, but Ripley wins, and she has to win.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll see what happens with that. Before we get to our main event of night 2, I want to remind everyone to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Trevor, we need to get your Twitter on here so I can plug the shit out of that, my guy.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we'll work on that for next week. Don't worry. But we'll do all of that. And now, Trevor, let's talk about it. The main event of night 2 of WrestleMania. It's going to be a triple threat match for the Universal Championship. Let's get into it. Finally, in the main event of night 2 of WrestleMania, WWE Universal Championship is going to be on the line. It's going to be no countouts, no disqualifications. The only way to win is by pinfall or submission in the middle of the ring. And remember, Trevor, the champion does not have to be pinned or submitted to lose the belt. Who will it be? Will it be the man who literally outlasted 29 other superstars to win the 2021 Royal Rumble from number 1, the man whose career was cut short by a debilitating neck injury, the man who has done quite literally everything there is to do in WWE except win in the main event of WrestleMania? Will it be the Rated R Superstar Edge? Or will it be the greatest underdog in the history of professional wrestling? The man who is likely wrestling his final match at WrestleMania before he calls it quits for a career. The man who just 7 years ago, today, Trevor, beat Triple H, Batista, and Randy Orton in the same night to become the WWE Champion. The man who knows a thing or two about winning triple threats in the main event of WrestleMania. The man who is considered by many to be the best wrestler to ever lace up a pair of boots. Will it be the American Dragon, Daniel Bryan? Or will it be the big dog who runs the yard, the Samoan badass who has reinvented himself into one of the most must-see and despicable characters in professional wrestling today, who with Paul Heyman by his side has run a roughshod through the SmackDown roster and his own family over the past 7 months? Will it be the reigning, defending, undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Champion of the world, the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns? That's my setup for the match. Trevor, as you can tell, I'm pumped.
I had goosebumps, man. That was awesome. Like,
I know. I gave you like the little Bruce Buffer from WCW.
You did.
Yeah, I'm. If you can't tell, I'm so pumped for this match. I think this is honestly one of the best main event build-ups, one of the best main event draw matches we've seen in such a long time, and I'm just so excited for it. Trevor, what do you think about the build-up for this match and just how it was done and where we are right now?
I can't argue with that. I mean, that amazing intro. But honestly, I'm excited as well. I really am. Like, this is probably going to be the best match of the night and might be match of the week, and match of the show. I think we both kind of agreed at first that Daniel Bryan wasn't necessarily needed to this match at first because of the fact that you had Edge coming in, and this first time he's well, not the first time he's headlined WrestleMania, but could be the first time he won the belt at WrestleMania. And I already thought you had a solid setup between him and Reigns. Him and Reigns on camera has been working since the get-go, in my opinion. But after seeing all three on the screen together, like, I honestly believe this is one of the better triple threats I've seen in a very long time. And the match is set up itself. It's they did good work. The writers did amazing work for this. As a fan, I am absolutely biased, completely biased. and honestly, I don't disagree that Daniel Bryan is quite possibly one of the best technical wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. I won't go as far as to say he's a full package because I think there are other ones out there that he goes in the category with. But I think he's one of the best technical wrestlers I've ever seen. Well, I remember the first match I saw him in was in ROH. And he was fighting Roderick Strong for the belt. And it was an amazing match, by the way. Both competitors, amazing. But also, I grew up Edge head, man. I watched Edge most of my life. Been a huge Edge fan, and again, he's never lost this belt. He never lost the championship. He had to quit. He never had the Universal belt, but he's never lost the belt. I think the gimmick for both of them is solid, and I think, like you said, Roman Reigns being the best Roman Reigns has ever been, being the most despicable human being he possibly can, and bringing his family in to do his dirty work, to me makes sense. If you want to make a stable, you bring the Usos and both Usos and Roman Reigns. You have a great stable. You have a great faction, if that's the way you want to go. But in this match, I gotta go Edge. That's who I want to win. That's who I would love to see. But it's gonna make, like we said weeks prior, I think Daniel Bryan wins this match.
This is the one match where I literally have no idea who's gonna win, and that's what I think makes this match so awesome, because you literally do not know what's gonna happen, but you're also excited for almost any outcome that could happen, because you already know these guys are gonna work a great match. You already know that you're going to be drawn in because of everything you mentioned. Edge, for the first time in 11 years, never lost a championship. Daniel Bryan also main evented and didn't lose his title then. Roman Reigns reinventing himself into someone who the fans actually give a shit about.
Right.
This is wrestling at its best. And the way that they built it up, right? I said before that they kind of worked themselves into a corner with the Daniel Bryan thing, because you don't put Daniel Bryan in these premier matches for the title leading up to WrestleMania if your plan isn't to have him in. So maybe they were forced in, maybe not. Regardless, what they've done the past few weeks with turning Edge heel, giving him this edge, and then last week on SmackDown, They had Bryan literally just demolish both of them and just come out and be, the lovable, underdog that he is. They're building everyone up to be good. Roman Reigns, though, I do think has been lost a little bit in this.
Yeah,
I've noticed that. Yeah, I think he's kind of been in, because recently they've been trying, I think, to catch up with the Daniel Bryan Edge thing. They've been building that up a little bit, and he's kind of get lost a little bit in the shuffle. But at the end of the day, the title is with him, and I guarantee you, Paul Heyman on the Go Home show is gonna make all of that up with a fantastic promo. Roman Reigns gonna be a badass like he is. I'm so ready for this, but I have to disagree with you on the win. I think I'm so not objective on this, and I make no bones about it. I am not objective at all. I do think I've read reasoning rather for why I think the way I do. As a fan, no question, I want Daniel Bryan to win. I think I want to see Daniel Bryan once again in a triple threat match at the main event of WrestleMania win, because who doesn't love Daniel Bryan? Like, exactly. Yeah. That's like you can never be mad about Daniel Bryan winning, even when he was a heel.
It's so hard to see him as a heel role because it doesn't make sense.
But he made it work as a heel, and that's kind of why I say,
amazingly enough, he did.
Dude, that's why I say Daniel Bryan is actually one of the more underrated, like, overall packages, because what he did last year, going from the most hated wrestler, or the most beloved wrestler, to one of the most hated, legitimately most hated wrestlers. Like, when he called Kofi Kingston a B+ player, you knew it was a work, but that hurt.
It hurt. It hurt.
Like, and he made you care. And and Kofi Kingston, I'm telling you, he's great. But he doesn't get over to the extent that he does without Bryan at WrestleMania 35. Like, that put him over the top. So for me, it's a personal thing. Like you said, you mentioned that Super Card of Honor 2006 match. Know your wrestling trivia, kids. With Roderick Strong. Like, he's been the best technical wrestler on the planet, I think, for a while. And we don't have to. No one has to agree with me that he's the greatest ever. That's not what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
But I think that for me, Daniel Bryan is who I'm rooting for, who I want to win, and who I really, really hope wins. And if we're talking about who should win, I still say Daniel Bryan, because here's the thing: what better way to end WrestleMania, to end Daniel Bryan's last WrestleMania, right? Because we know his contract's up. He talked about retirement ad nauseum. The whole promo is building up to this has been like, it's my last run. It's my last run. Edge might yet have like a few years left in him. Like, Christian's like damn near 50, and he's debuting in AEW. So, his career is probably going to be longer. Daniel, I think, is more close to retirement, like true retirement. What better way to go out than main event of WrestleMania? And what a better return to WrestleMania, to fans, than Daniel Bryan leading a yes chant of thousands of people, like in the first big event since the pandemic. Like, that is, I think that's an image that everyone wants to see. And look, if Edge wins, will I be excited? Yeah, but there's gonna be a little part of me that's gonna be like, man, it's
they
just
drop the ball, right? Yeah.
I mean, not even drop the ball. I also think the character, the way the character's been built up, it doesn't work unless, like, you're gonna build Edge up to be, a ruthless badass heel over the next few months. But that's Roman Reigns' gimmick on SmackDown. So it's a weird thing. I think the only way because you have two heels, right? You have two people working the match as heels, and usually in this kind of scenario, the face, the good guy, wins, And I think that's what you build around, right? So that could happen. Equally as likely that they just say, Roman, this is my fucking yard, and he goes over. And even if that happens, will I be upset? Yes, but in a much different way than I'd be upset about, like Roman winning, at WrestleMania 33 against The Undertaker. So I'm excited. This is
a
big money match, draw match. I'm going to deal with all of Peacock's bullshit because of this match.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Like this, and it's just look, like I know we have not talked about like Roman Reigns enough, I think, and I think he should
No.
get his due because this is the best build he's had to a WrestleMania match. At
Yeah.
two,
Yeah.
like
We
just
also mentioned Drew McIntyre for carrying the company. Roman helped too. Roman definitely helped.
He
Definitely
carried
helped.
SmackDown for sure.
Exactly. We haven't given him that credit for that, which he deserves.
Yeah, and SmackDown's been the better show.
It has.
Forget SmackDown's been like SmackDown is so easy to watch and so fun at times to watch, and these three right here in the corner have made it so fun and so easy to watch, and I just love the fact they're gonna get at least they're gonna get the time to shine in the main event. I hope this is like a 30-minute brawl where these guys just kick the shit out of each other. I want this fight forever. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm ready, and especially in front of fans. Like there's no better main event. I think this is perfect booking.
Yeah, I think they knocked one out of the park with this one. I can't wait to watch it.
Can't wait to watch it. But yeah. Daniel Bryan's last WrestleMania. That's kind of crazy to think about. Yep. So one last thing before we put a bow on this. Actually, we put a bow on WrestleMania. I think we're pretty good on WrestleMania. We talked about that enough. One last thing. AEW Dynamite. So they've kind of tried to counter program a little bit. They're gonna have Mike Tyson on Dynamite on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
To try to compete with what NXT is doing. And, I think that's actually a pretty good idea. Because Tyson was supposed to do some other stuff before back in August, but that got kiboshed. So what do you think about this? What do you think about Mike Tyson showing up, this week? They're obviously trying to counter-program with NXT. And I don't hate it, but what do you think?
I don't hate it. I'm just wondering what role it's gonna play, especially due to the fact that him and Jericho had words at one point, and now Jericho's in the middle of a feud with the Pinnacle. So I'm kind of wondering what position he's coming in. Like what is he? What reason does he have to come in and what he's doing on the show? But other than that, I don't hate it. No, it makes sense. I'm just curious where they're gonna go with it.
Yeah, and like here's the thing though. For me, I don't think AEW is gonna win like this week. Obviously, I think AEW's I would be so shocked if AEW won the ratings thing this week.
And actually a little disappointed to be honest, because of the show that NXT does have, coming up. It's supposed to be a big one. If NXT won this, I would kind of be a little disappointed.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If you're telling me that I understand why Tony's doing it, right? Because while you're not going to do as well a number, you still want to get the best number possible.
Exactly.
To keep the ratings up, because that's how you re-up your contract. That's like if you are able to show consistent winning, right? Or consistently good ratings, that's all that matters. But dude, if NXT somehow loses this, that's like nail in the coffin on Wednesday nights. I know they're already moving, but that's it. That's it. No, the Wednesday night thing is a complete failure. Never meant to work ever. But hey, there are going to be people though I think who are going to be moved to at least check in and see what Tyson's doing, and I think that's the point of this. So I'm definitely gonna watch NXT probably for the most part. But I will check in on AEW probably every now and then. They're doing a simulcast right on USA and the network, so that's gonna be interesting to see how that works. Are they gonna have commercial breaks on the network?
That's a good question. I'm not totally sure. You know what? It might be. So you know how sometimes we do picture in picture, where you see during the commercial, you see the whatever. Maybe on the network they won't do that. They just go straight through.
Okay. I'm waiting for the day they do a world title match and it's the world title changes hand picture in picture. That would be funny. Look, terrible, right? That would be terrible, right? Because we'd hate it. But that would
sounds like something WWE would do.
That would be hilarious though. It would be a great troll of the fans. It's just anything can happen on a live show, pal.
That would be the day that Raw literally just cancels right after it goes to black and says we won't be back in 2. ever.
It's like this has been the final episode of Raw. Thank you for 30 years of disappointment. Oh, anyway, all right. Well, this has been fun, Trevor. I much better. We did much better. I enjoyed this way more than the Hall of Fame show.
Oh my God, the Hall of Fame show was hard to get through.
Dude, editing that show was that you don't want to know how
I'm
long
actually impressed.
Took.
I've watched some of the clips from it. I'm actually impressed.
Oh man, this was bad, bro. Like I got through Jushin Thunder Liger. I was like, okay, and then that fucking X-Pac thing. It's look. I don't hate Sean Waltman as a person.
I do.
Okay, Trevor does. I don't hate Sean Waltman as a person. I just hate everything about him to do with wrestling. I just, like literally, the 1, 2, 3 Kid was cool for about a week, right? And then he just was living under the shadow of what's his name of Razor Ramon. It just didn't mean anything. I'm just, man, fuck X-Pac. X-Pac heat exists for a reason. It literally exists for that reason. He was never a great wrestler. His promos sucked. His gimmick sucked because it was just DX. He's a little bitch. He doesn't do anything. Like, his gimmick was like his main move, his big spot in matches was either a Bronco Buster or him doing the Karate Kid. Like, killing the business.
Absolutely terrible. Every time he did a promo, I swear he reminded me of like a child that didn't know what to say. Like a
child with bronchitis. Suck it.
Like, dude, like, go home. Just go home. You're drunk. Like.
Go home, you suck. No, like, I'm not even like gonna go there. He just sucked. He's not talented. He can barely work a match. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. I'm pissed. He can barely work a match. The dude could never cut a promo to save his life. He's a blight on the wrestling business. He deserves to be buried by every single person on I would rather see Baron Corbin for 3 hours a week every single week for the rest of my life than watch another X-Pac promo. And I'm not even capping, all right? I'm not capping. I don't like to see X-Pac on my screen. Every time I watch DX from back in 1997, I'm happy until I see little X-Pac in the background, dude. He was the Virgil. What Virgil was to the NWO, he was to DX, but he got paid way more.
I think Virgil was better than him, honestly. But he's just off like nothing. So the only reason you even know who 1, 2, 3 Kid it was because of Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. They both helped him. He had good matches with them, but that's because they carried it. Like, and even when he was in a tag team with Kane carried that tag team.
And
I was so happy to watch him get chokeslammed. Yo, I cannot stand X-Pac. X-Pac, 6, Sean Waltman, they all suck a big bag of baby meat. Man, I can't stand him.
Yeah. Shows up to TNA on Monday night. No shows every single event after that. Like, he doesn't even want the paycheck. All right. We've done our. I think we've got. That was kind of therapeutic. I needed that. Yeah,
it felt good, didn't it? It felt good.
It felt good. And for more X-Pac rants, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. We'll be back next week, and I promise you, I'll probably do the same thing. But we'll be back next week. I think, Trevor, next week we're going to be reviewing everything that happened at Mania.
Another big week.
Yeah, going to be a big week. Walter, baby. Dude, fix. Hey, WWE needs more Walter. Answered all your problems. Anyway, Trevor, final thoughts on Mania, final thoughts on Mania week, everything. Go.
This has been fun, and I mean, just covering it and everything has been a lot of fun. I think Mania Night 2 will probably be the best night. I think there are going to be some matches on Night 1 that will be awesome too, but I think Mania Night 2 is going to outshine. I think the takeover, the match of the night will be Walter Walter and Ciampa. I think that's what's going to be. I can't wait to see it, though.
Yeah, totally agree. I cannot wait to see it. I cannot wait to see Walter versus Ciampa. I cannot wait to see Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. Karrion Kross versus Finn Balor has potential as well. Check those out. And WrestleMania, just great main event card. Undercard is but hey, I'm there for the main event. Cannot wait for that triple threat. So excited. So for Trevor, for myself, and for Saudi Hogan, we will see you next week. Brother. For Saudi Hogan, myself, and Trevor, we will see you all live here next week on YouTube. Real Take Russell Talk. Have fun at WrestleMania week, guys. Can't say that on TV. Have fun at WrestleMania week, guys.